And today's Nick Chubb topic is brought to us by Leaf Filter. Cleveland Browns fans are some of the toughest fans in the world. They've sustained and overcome a ton of adversity and some long seasons. And the only thing comparable to how tough Cleveland Browns fans are is Leaf Filter. There's only one Cleveland and only one gutter guard that's tough enough for the toughest fans in the world, and that is Leaf Filter. Leaf Filter's been protecting gutters in Northeast Ohio for nearly 2 decades now. Leaf Filter is your permanent solution to clogged gutters. Every installation comes with a lifetime no clogs guarantee. Leaf Filter uses award-winning patented technology to keep out everything but water. No holes, no gaps, or large openings for debris to get through. Over 1 million homeowners have trusted Leaf Filter in the past. You can become the next in that line. Schedule your free inspection now, and for a limited time, get up to 32% off your entire qualified purchase and 2 free Browns jerseys at leaffilter.com/UCSS. That's a free inspection, up to 32% off, and 2 free Browns jerseys with a qualified purchase at leaffilter.com/UCSS. Offer valid on a first-come, first-served basis while supplies last. Full terms and conditions can be found at leaffilter.com/UCSS. See representatives for warranty details. Nick Chubb is coming back on Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Tyvis, what should fans realistically expect from Nick Chubb in his 2024 season debut?
Realistic expectations? Realistically, this is a guy that's coming back off of literally blowing his leg out. So I would expect 7 carries.
Really? Think it's going to be that low?
7, yeah, something like 7, maybe 7 to 10 carries, somewhere around 50, 60 yards. I do think that he will move fine, though. I think we'll see him and be like, oh, he's moving pretty good. I don't know if he'll be vintage Nick Chubb. I think it'll take some time, obviously, with conditioning and just getting used to it again. My biggest thing for me is when one of these DBs attack him low, try to tackle him low, how does he respond? Is he still running through contact, or is he going tense up? Like, that to me is the thing that I truly want to see from him. If he's still running and picking them knees up and putting them down on contact, then he's got a chance to get back to being what he was. I do want to see what his top end speed will be, but the way this offensive line is playing, I don't know if we'll get a chance. Stefanski's gonna have to get creative, which G makes me laugh about just thinking about that part. But if he could break one, and I get to see his top end speed, if he's still able to, get away from people, he could definitely make it back to where he once was.
Gee, you think his carry total will be that low?
It's weird. And, last 2 days, I just been sitting around looking around stuff. I couldn't talk, so I just was consuming as much information as I could. So, man, it all depends on what world or alternate universe the Cleveland Browns offensive staff is in. We continue to talk about it. One thing I did look at the All-22, and I will say is there was some semblances of some run stuff that I hadn't seen earlier this year. I thought they got under center, and the under center runs were a lot better. You started to see guys come off the football. They started to do some different things. I don't know if that was in preparation for Nick Chubb coming back, but if he's healthy, and I'm running him. Listen, when you clear, you clear. You hear. Like, I'm gonna give you the normal dose of yards.
When he was cleared, they wouldn't even give him 20.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
That's not true.
They did.
That's the problem.
He got 20 sometimes. Not a lot of backs get 20 carries.
But it's Chubb though. It's Chubb though.
I don't know. They was cautious back then.
They was cautious when he was in his prime. If you think you're gonna get 25 carries, I broke the code. They told me last year, Nathan Zagura, when they believe that Nick Chubb is a back that is better below 18 carries. He's more efficient and more of an effective back. That wasn't when it was in his prime. So now you do the analytics on that. You extrapolate that over 2 years. He's older, knee injury. He probably going to get you around 12 carries, maybe 13. They might give him 14 if he really moving, if he really doing his thing, right? So I expect somewhere around there. I'm not going to put no yardage on it because I don't know what the heck they talking about up front.
I got 16 carries for 84 yards for Nick Chubb in this game.
That would be an amazing
I
game.
think he's going to play well, and I think he's going to get the ball a decent amount. Jerome Ford, I don't know if he's going to play in this game.
He can tweak a
So
hamstring.
Pierre Strong will probably. I think Deontay Foreman, he's out.
I
think it's Strong is the because
I like Pierre Strong.
every time he gets an opportunity, he plays well.
Every time he gets the ball, he shows
Why are
me
you looking
something.
at like we're crazy?
I said that last year.
I did too.
I like it.
I've been saying that for a whole year.
I like it, man.
I think like Chubb with Pierre Strong is the change of pace back. And maybe they'll use Foreman on to help pick up blitzes.
I told you,
Foreman
Foreman showed his hand to me. It's been 3 times now that I've seen him get the ball on the 1 yard line and get stoned.
Yeah.
Cold.
Right.
He has no back seats right now.
But I agree with G's point that like if you cleared, you cleared.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's
all, but you should also agree with G's point because G knows that it's a such thing called football shape. And unless you playing football, you ain't getting in shape.
That's a very good point.
I think he sees that Bengals. He's always played well against the Bengals. I mean, he's played well against pretty much every team, but he's played particularly well against the Bengals over the years.
Man, this is an opportunity, and I'm just wondering, like, will the real Kevin Stefanski please stand up?
Please stand up.
Please stand up. Like, are you in there somewhere? Because is over the whole Deshaun Watson thing is I see him playing. I'm starting to get over the whole Kevin Stefanski thing. All you got to do is this. Like, even if you don't got Bill Callahan, right? Look how crazy this is. The way Bill, it's a thing called the internet now. There's a thing called the internet where you can take archives and look at those things.
It's even better than that. It's a thing called, I'm going to go to the video guy and say, give me my most explosive runs from last season.
Give me the greatest hits, the top 20 Bill Callahan runs. And then you know what you do? You go in there with the same offensive lineman that you had before, and you say, hey, you know how we were blocking that before? Let's block it the same way. Let's go back to see what Nick Chubb likes to run. Right? Can we run that?
If they come out there and if they go 5 wide, and they in the shotgun 90% of the time,
it's crazy.
I'm gonna look at him like you really lost your mind. Like you really lost it. And like at this point, you just trying way too hard. Like you really punting on the season.
Can I give you a little preview of something real quick?
Yeah.
We're gonna do our 5 stats for tomorrow, but you mentioned the 5 wide. It has to be scrapped from the playbook. I'll give you some numbers on the Browns and 5 wide this year.
Go ahead.
So part of the reason they went 5 wide and part of the reason they go 5 wide is that is what Deshaun liked to do in high school, at Clemson, and in Houston. From 2017 to 2020.
Go ahead.
His prime years with Houston. From empty sets, 5 wides, or 5 receivers, no one in the backfield. Deshaun led the NFL in empty sets in completion percentage over expected, passing yards, and he finished 4th in total QBR despite having the most dropbacks. Very prolific. This season in empty sets, he has 56 dropbacks. That's 2nd in the NFL. Geno Smith is the only one with more. There's 24 quarterbacks that qualify for these next 2 stats. He has a 23.2 QBR. That is 23rd out of 24 in empty sets. And he averages 2.7 yards per dropback. That is 22nd out of 24.
Now, to be fair, there aren't many circumstances where he's not near the bottom, are there?
In anything, no, and we'll get into more of that tomorrow. I don't want to dive into all that. I'm just saying, from particular
empty
sets, they've been abysmal.
Can we say this, McNuggets? Hey, bro, we don't care what Deshaun Watson wanted to run in high school. Let me just be clear about that. I just want to and I'm saying this. I don't care what you wanted to run yesterday or today or 3 weeks ago.
I agree.
That's not what it is. You got to run we 1-5 running what you like. We going back to what I like to run.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what get me successful. No disrespecting nobody, but that's crazy. Like, what are you talking about when you ran in high school?
At the end of the day, you trying to salvage your career. And let me help you. Let me help you out. Listen, I done did it with Case. I done did it with Joe. I done did it with Baker. I done did it with Jacoby. I done did it with whoever you want to say. And we did it this way. And they, guess what? A lot of those guys got jobs right now. If we keep running what you running, you might not have one after this. So let me help you help your career by running it my way. Just do it. I know you don't like to put your back against the defense and run play action. Trust me. It's going to be so wide open when you turn your head around that you can't miss it.
Well, that should have happened. I mean, they should have never tried to change it for him anyway.
I mean, I don't even like that. I don't like that conversation you just had. I'm not asking you nothing.
Yeah, I'm the coach.
yeah.
Like, do you ask your children to clean their rooms? Or do after the third time, do you be like...
Nobody, they don't get to 3 times.
Okay.
Actually, this happened last night.
Well, but think about this. That's 3 times, and you know how mad you get for 3 times. This is the third, fourth time that we done heard all offseason we done changed the offense.
I tell you what.
At what point
And if you do tell your... Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
If you do tell your children to do something, then they don't do it, and you allow them to get away with that, that's on you.
Oh, they're gonna embarrass you when your
That's
friends
right.
come over.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I had tuned in yesterday for the Sean King interview, and he was talking about. I really liked the part where he was talking about how Andy Reid does a great job of getting his athletes the ball in space.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I started thinking about the Browns, and I was like, Elijah Moore is a guy who they was talking all this and that and all this and that, and they continue to try to make him be this typical wide receiver, and I don't think that's his game. I think it's best when he does have the ball in space. I think he's a more shifty, agile guy. So you got to get him in. Now that Amari's gone, it's got to come from somewhere. Because now the defense goes from, wait, we don't have Amari no more? Okay, then their next best wide receiver is Jerry Jeudy, so let's slide to Jeudy. Now what you going to do? The next person got to step up, and it should be him. First of all, it should be him for multiple reasons. One, he's already upset right now. You got his dad already talking about one target and all this and stuff like that. So he's upset and he's disgruntled. Secondly, he has no choice but to go out there and play as hard as he possibly can. Why? Because he knows he's not going to be here next year, but he definitely want to play somewhere. So
Do the Browns even have any other wide receiver? Like, is Cedric Tillman play?
We're going to talk about the receivers and who steps
nobody
up
else.
at a later time.
I don't know.
How many yards does receiving do the rest of the receivers have besides Jerry Jeudy and Cooper?
Well, I'll give you this. Cedric Tillman has 9 more receiving yards than the 4 of us combined this year.
So he's got 9 yards receiving.
Look at this.
How many yards does Elijah
Wait
Moore
a
have?
minute.
Oh, Lord.
Wait a minute. Is Corey watching this show?
I know, he just picked up Elijah Moore in fantasy. Literally,
Corey lost his mind.
Well, hey, we're going to get to the receivers in a little bit. I want to get back to Nick Chubb for 1 sec because I do think this
By the way, one thing on Nick Chubb, Mike, I read did you guys see the Players Tribune article that
terrific
he wrote?
article.
Yes, it was wonderful.
So obviously it was a really great article and it was really cool. And, as a fan, everybody loved Nick Chubb, but when a player appreciates the fans, that takes it to a whole nother level.
I agree.
Then fans love you even more.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I love you, Cleveland fans. If you tell Cleveland fans you love them,
So you feel
they
like
love
that,
you even
you
more.
feel like that about Miles and Donovan Mitchell?
Sure.
I'm just asking. Gret Delpit.
Did he say that too?
Well, I mean, he was in the tailgate lot at the first.
Yeah, I love that those guys did that.
I'm just-
Totally on
I'm just,
board. But Nick Chubb is held at a reverence more than anybody in this town, I think.
Yeah.
I think right now he is the most lovable athlete in Cleveland.
It's not even close. I don't think it's close.
Between him, Mitchell, and Jose.
Yeah, I think he's number 1.
I think he's on his own tier, and the other 2 are very high, but I agree with
I think
Cole that Chubb's on
Jose's
his own
second,
tier.
and then Mitchell.
Look, listen, Nick Chubb
Yeah.
is that's why I be saying. I heard y'all yesterday. I was just keeping it real. Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb mirrors what this fan base and people in the state of Ohio want out of their athletes. They want you to be durable. They want you to be able to come back from adversity. They want you to be a great player. They want you to not make any waves. They don't want you in the headlines. They don't want you on Instagram. They want to see you at community events. And when they ask you a question, you give them 3 or 4 words and hand the ball back to the referee.
That's right.
That's what we like.
That's
So if you do that, they'll never. The Cleveland Browns in that article, they said, "Man, I've never heard that. The Browns had the hammer against me." And I said, "No, Nick, you didn't know it. They never had the hammer. There was no way the fan base was going to let them get rid of you, especially after getting injured against the Steelers. That's treason.
Yeah,
that is treason.
There's no doubt. But let me just finish one more thing, Mike, about this. Nick Chubb, who never talks, never. He even said in the article, he's like, I really only talk to my friends, and even then I don't talk that much. He spilled the beans. and reveal the truth that we all knew that players don't admit. And of all people, Nick Chubb admitted it.
He reads all the comments.
If Nick Chubb, of all people, is admitting that he reads and sees the comments.
I told you that last week.
But you're not active.
Tyvis Powell.
I know you've said that, but you're not active. And active players never admit that. And if he's looking at it, him of all people, then you know everybody else is.
That's a great catch.
Sat in the locker room. They literally go like, "Look at this."
Oh yeah. Right.
It's bro. They grow up. That phone that is in there.
It's in your hand all the time.
That's in your
Every
soul.
time you go to that locker room, everybody is in there doing this.
Go to a kid. Listen, have you not seen kids and teachers getting in fist fights over phones?
Yeah, it's not.
Because they be like, "You took my phone." And they're like, "Well, it's just a phone." They're like, "No, I have personal things in there. That's my personal information. My socials in there. I got pictures in there. People know where I live. My messages. And my mom calls me every 5 minutes."
That's right.
Like, people be having knockdown dragouts over phones.
Well, people think, and I was a victim of this, even though I was in it. You think that athletes is just so much different. Like, they're just different.
I know.
And then I got in locker rooms, and I got around some of the most popular athletes in football. And I'm like, he ain't no different. He do the same thing I do. He's just like me.
He just happen to be good at football.
He's just good. They do the same thing.
That's right. All right, Mike, go ahead. What do you got?
Didi said she's logging on right now. So real quick around the horn. Real quick. And then I'll get a read in. We'll bring a Didi in. The chat says Nick Chubb's going to get between 6 and 10 carries. We put up a poll.
No. And
over 50%, 51% said 6 to 10 carries. Only 7% said more than 15. So they expect a middling workload. But in those 10 carries, let's hypothetically say. And Bo, we'll start with you. We'll end with Tyvis, then we'll bring a Didi in. Will he be 80% of old Nick Chubb? 100%? 50, 60?
I mean, I just said he's going to have 85 yards. So
but where on the list of...
I mean, I can't. A percentage is silly, but I think he's going to look...
16 carries for 84 yards? That's what you say?
Yeah, something like that.
That's not prime Nick Chubb, but that's like 90%.
I think he's going to look pretty close to himself. So I'll say 90%.
Now listen, you know what's
real quick, we got a D.
You know that offensive line ain't great. 80%.
I'm gonna go 100, but you ain't gonna be able to tell until 3-4 weeks.
You know how I'm gonna know if Nick Chubb is prime Nick Chubb? He's got to make that first guy miss, and we'll find out very early.
Right.
All right, let's bring a Didi in.
Let's bring a Didi.